Eleanor stood in the center of the vast, silent living room of their new home, the Willow House. It was a beautiful place, if you ignored the oppressive sense of history and the pervasive smell of dry, sun-baked earth that seemed to cling to the floorboards. 2 weeks into the move, her husband, Arthur, had begun spending hours in the basement, sealing a sublevel room with a new, heavy deadbolt. She found him in the kitchen, meticulously cleaning dust from a stack of old journals he'd insisted on bringing. Eleanor moved to the counter, her voice a low, uncertain pitch. "Eleanor, I still don't understand why you locked that room. It's just a root cellar, isn't it?" The realtor said it was empty. Arthur didn't look up, running a microfiber cloth over the embossed cover of a journal. Arthur calmly dismissive. "It was damp, Ellie, and potentially structurally unsound. I told you this. I put a lock on it so no one, no us, goes down there until I can have a contractor look at it. We don't need a hazard." Eleanor, a slight edge of nervousness. "But it wasn't locked when we toured the house, and the contractor you called canceled yesterday. You went down anyway. I heard the scraping." He finally set the journal down, his attention now fixed entirely on her, a practiced, patient look settling on his face. Arthur, coolly rational. "I was securing the door frame, making sure the bolt held. It's old wood. The scraping you heard was a file. You should really try to sleep tonight. You look exhausted, and that house move stress is making you hear things, love." He reached out and stroked her cheek. The gesture felt less like comfort and more like containment. Eleanor flinched almost imperceptibly, the contact feeling cold. 3 nights later, Eleanor couldn't sleep. She sat upright in bed, listening to the house breathe. She heard the low, almost subsonic hum that seemed to emanate from the foundation. It always seemed strongest after Arthur had come back upstairs past midnight. She waited until he was in the shower the next morning before starting the conversation. "Eleanor?" Voice hushed, leaning in. "Art, what time did you come to bed last night? I think I fell asleep around 2 and you weren't there." Arthur was shaving, the electric razor buzzing briefly before he set it down. He glanced at her reflection in the mirror, his movements slow and deliberate. Arthur, sighing lightly weary. "Ellie, we talked about this. I was in the office. I'm trying to wrap up the Johnson file before the weekend. The Wi-Fi is terrible down here, so I'm moving files around on the server." Eleanor, eyes darting, accusatory, "But I came into the office at 3:15 and the laptop was closed. I saw a thin line of light under the basement door." He turned off the faucet, wiped his face, and pivoted to face her, his hands gripping the sink edge. His tone shifted from weary to stern. "Arthur," firmly, a hint of steel, "you are checking on me, aren't you? You are pacing the house at 3 a.m. and checking my movements. This isn't just move stress anymore, Eleanor. This is paranoia. If you keep doing this, I will call Dr. Hayes. I'm worried about your stability." The word hung in the air, stability. It wasn't a question, but a threat. Eleanor, whispering, her throat tight. I want to know what you're doing in the dark down there. What is the low humming sound?" Arthur, a dangerous calm. "It is the well pump cycling. It is the new refrigerator. It is the sounds of a house settling. It is not a conspiracy, Eleanor. Now get dressed. You need some air." The final exchange occurred late Saturday afternoon. Eleanor hadn't gone out. She'd gone back down to the basement, not to confront the locked door, but to examine Arthur's journals. He kept them in a small oak box under his side of the bed. She didn't find notes on the house. She found pages of meticulous, nearly manic handwriting, detailing observation times, feeding schedules, and vague references to the subject and the needs. The dates were recent. When Arthur came upstairs, humming a tune she didn't recognize, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, holding one of the open journals. Eleanor, voice shaking but low. "Arthur, I saw the schedule. February 12th, 3:30 a.m. Subject accepted supplement C. Breathing shallow but stable." Arthur stopped humming. He didn't rush toward her. He simply tilted his head, a thoughtful, almost curious expression on his face. Arthur, a terrible serenity. You went through my things. Eleanor, holding up the journal. Who is the subject? What are you feeding it? Is it why you locked the room? Why there's that awful coppery smell right under the air vent? He walked slowly toward her, not angry, but devastatingly patient. He took the journal from her hand, gently, and closed it. Arthur, gently, but with absolute finality. You know what, darling? You really are quite unwell. You've let the idea of this old house run away with you, and you keep confusing the stories you read with reality. He paused, looking down at the journal in his hands, then back to her eyes. The mask of patience dissolved, replaced by something flat and empty. Arthur, lo, every word is stone. You ask who the subject is? You should know, Eleanor. It's the reason we had to move from the city, isn't it? The reason we needed a place with this kind of solitude. I'm simply managing the consequences of your unstable thinking, making sure nothing disturbs the quiet. He tucked the journal under his arm and began walking toward the locked basement door, leaving her alone with the understanding that she wasn't just in a new house, she was in his newly constructed prison. The low humming from below continued, ceaseless and unnerving,